Hey there, deep divers. Ever thought about like what really makes for a fulfilling career? You know, it's a big
It's
decision.
huge, yeah.
Maybe you've taken those online quizzes and you're
Oh.
like, do these actually hold the secret
Right.
to my dream job? Well, today we're diving deep
Okay.
into the world of career choices and those tests
All right.
that claim to help you navigate them.
I like it.
We'll be looking at chapter 11
Okay.
from the book Salkind
Salkind, yeah.
to uncover some pretty fascinating insights.
Yeah, what's so interesting to me about this chapter is that it goes beyond,
Oh,
just picking a job. It's
yeah.
really about,
Uh-huh.
understanding yourself
Yeah.
on a deeper level, like your interests, personality, even your values.
Wow.
All these things play a crucial role.
Yeah, I've always thought about career exploration as something you
Yeah.
do in your late teens, early 20s.
Right.
But this chapter kind of throws a curveball at us
Oh,
right from the start. It points out that most people change careers multiple times throughout their lives.
yeah, that's such a crucial point.
Yeah.
It really challenges the traditional notion that
Yeah.
career choices are a one-time deal.
Right.
It really emphasizes that career exploration is relevant at any stage of life,
Oh, that's good.
whether you're fresh out of school
Yeah.
or contemplating a second act later on.
That's a relief to hear, actually.
Yeah.
So if it's not a one-time decision,
Right.
how do we approach it?
Right.
The book emphasizes that it's not just about what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's also about factoring in practicalities like
Right.
compensation benefits and lifestyle.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
where your passion and practicality
Yeah.
intersect. And that's where
Yeah.
career development tests can come in handy.
Okay, so let's talk about these tests.
Right.
What makes them different from those quick online quizzes?
Okay.
This is where it gets really interesting. These tests don't just focus on what you like.
Okay.
They take a much deeper approach considering your personality, your values and experiences
Nice.
to create a more holistic picture.
The book even quotes
Oh,
vocational psychologist Tom Krischak,
Mhm.
who says,
okay.
the last thing about career counseling is the career, it's all about the person.
Wow.
That statement really captures the essence of this approach.
It makes so much sense. It's not about shoehorning yourself into a job.
Right.
It's about finding a career that aligns with who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard of the Strong Interest Inventory,
Yes,
or SII. Is that an example of this kind of holistic test?
absolutely.
Yeah.
The SII
Yeah.
is a classic example of a career development test
Okay.
that takes this holistic approach.
Yeah.
It actually has a pretty interesting origin story.
Really?
Edward Strong, the creator of the test,
Okay.
started by placing military personnel
Uh,
in suitable jobs during World War I. He realized that to truly understand
wow.
someone's vocational interests,
hmm
you had to look beyond just their stated dream job.
So how does it work? It's not like it reads your mind right.
Not quite,
Okay.
but it's pretty clever.
All right.
The SII works by matching your likes and dislikes
Okay.
to those of people who are already successful in different professions.
Oh, wow.
So, for example, if your responses align with those of successful accountants,
Okay.
the test might suggest that accounting could be a good fit for you.
That's actually brilliant.
Yeah.
So what kinds of questions does the SII ask?
Well, you might encounter questions like,
Okay.
do you dislike, or feel indifferent
Yeah.
toward working with data, leading a team, helping others?
Interesting.
It's all about getting a sense of your overall inclinations and preferences.
I can see how that would start to paint a picture of
Yeah.
your ideal work environment. And the book mentions something called Holland codes. What are those exactly?
The SII uses these codes developed by psychologist John Holland to categorize different personality types and work environments. There are 6 main themes:
Okay.
realistic, investigative, artistic, social enterprising, and conventional.
Those sound interesting.
They are.
Can we break them down a little?
Of course, let's start with realistic.
Okay.
People who fall into this category are often drawn to hands-on work
Okay.
with tangible results.
Hmm.
Think of carpenters, mechanics, or builders.
I see.
They enjoy working with tools and materials to create or fix things.
So they like to see the fruits of their labor, so to speak.
Exactly.
What about investigative types?
Investigative individuals are often drawn to problem solving
Okay.
and analytical thinking.
Uh-huh.
They tend to be curious, intellectual, and enjoy working with ideas and concepts.
Okay.
Think of scientists, researchers, or detectives.
Ah, the folks who like to figure out how things work.
Exactly.
And then there's artistic, which seems pretty self-explanatory.
Yes, artistic individuals are creative expressive.
Okay.
and often drawn to fields like music writing, design, or visual arts.
Oh, cool.
They value originality and enjoy using their imagination to bring ideas to life.
So those are the creatives among us.
Yes.
What about social types?
Social individuals are often compassionate, helpful,
Yeah,
and enjoy working with people.
I see.
They tend to be drawn to careers in fields like education counseling, social work, or healthcare.
Right.
They find fulfillment in supporting others and making a positive impact.
Those are the folks who make the world a better place.
I agree.
Now on to enterprising. What sets them apart?
Enterprising individuals are often ambitious, persuasive,
Okay.
and enjoy taking on leadership roles. They tend to be drawn to careers in business sales management or politics.
Okay.
They thrive in environments where they can take initiative and influence others.
So they're the movers and shakers, the ones who get things done.
Right.
What about conventional? Does that mean boring?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Conventional individuals value structure, order, and accuracy.
Oh.
They thrive in environments with clear rules and procedures.
Okay.
Think of accountants, librarians, or data analysts. They find satisfaction in organizing information and ensuring that everything runs smoothly.
So they're the ones who keep the world organized.
I like that.
Understanding these different Holland codes seems like it could be incredibly helpful.
It really can be.
Yeah.
Understanding your own Holland code can give you a clearer sense
Okay.
of the types of careers
Yeah.
you're likely to find fulfilling.
Right.
It can even pinpoint specific jobs
Wow.
you might never have considered before.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So after you take the SII, does it just spit out?
It does not,
Okay.
but it gives you a lot.
Okay.
The SII provides a detailed report based on your responses.
Okay.
It outlines your strongest Holland codes
Okay.
and then provides you with a list of suggested professions
Uh-huh.
that align with those codes.
Right.
It also highlights the skills and work environments
Okay.
that would likely suit you best.
Wow.
It's like having a personalized career roadmap.
That sounds incredibly useful. But Salkind doesn't stop there, does it?
It does not.
Okay.
It also introduces us to the self-directed search,
Yeah.
or SDS.
That's right. The SDS, developed by John Holland himself,
Yes.
is another fascinating tool for career exploration. What makes the SDS unique
Okay.
is its self-guided nature. It's self-administered, self-scored,
Right.
and self-interpreted. And you can even take it online.
Yes.
Or through a mobile app.
Very convenient.
Wow, that's super convenient. How does the SDS tie into
Yeah.
those Holland codes we were just talking about?
The SDS is actually deeply rooted
Okay.
in Holland's 6 occupational themes.
Uh-huh.
It uses them to create a visual representation
Cool.
called the Holland hexagon,
Oh, great.
which shows how the different themes relate to each other.
A hexagon. I'm a sucker for a good visual, so I'm definitely intrigued.
It's a really helpful way
Yeah,
to
yeah.
understand how the themes are interconnected.
Okay.
Imagine a hexagon
Yeah.
where each point represents a different Holland code.
Okay.
Codes that are closer together on the hexagon are more similar,
Okay.
while those further apart are less so.
So someone strong in the social and artistic themes would be closer together
Yes,
on the hexagon, while someone with strong realistic and social tendencies
exactly.
would be further apart. That makes sense.
Exactly. And the SDS doesn't just leave you with a bunch of themes.
Oh, good.
It actually gives you a 3-letter Holland code
Okay.
representing your top 3 themes.
Hmm.
So, for example, someone might be RES,
Right.
which stands for realistic, enterprising, and social.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
like your own personal career code. Does the book give any examples
It does.
of Holland codes for specific occupations?
It does, for instance.
Okay.
A helicopter pilot might have a code of RIS, realistic, investigative, social,
Wow.
and a blood donor recruiter could be ESC, enterprising, social, conventional.
Those are some spot-on examples.
Yeah.
Now I'm really curious to figure out my own Holland code.
Do it.
But before I rush off to take the SDS, does the book have any words of caution
It does.
about using these career tests?
And it brings in a real expert on the subject.
Ta-da.
It does. The book actually brings in Richard Bowles,
Oh, cool.
the author of the career guidance classic, What Color is Your Parachute?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He lays out 5 really important rules
Okay.
to keep in mind when taking career tests.
5 rules. Well, this sounds like good advice. Tell me more.
Okay, his first rule is that not all tests
Okay.
are suitable for every person. Some people just aren't into tests,
Right.
and forcing them to take one might not be helpful. It's important to find a tool
Right.
that feels right for you.
That makes sense. You can't force someone to fit a mold,
Right.
especially when it comes to something as important as a career. So what's rule number 2?
Bowles's second rule is that no single test
Okay.
can provide all the answers. Even the best career test is just a starting point,
Yeah.
a way to get you thinking about possibilities.
Yeah.
It's important to combine those test results
Yeah.
with your own research,
Okay.
some self-reflection,
Yeah.
and conversations with people working in different fields.
So it's like a compass, not a GPS.
Exactly.
And points you in a general direction.
Right.
But you still need to do the work of navigating the terrain yourself.
Right.
I like that analogy.
Exactly. Now, rule number 3 gets a little more philosophical.
Oh, okay.
Bowl is echoing Freud himself, reminds us to trust
Okay.
our intuition and emotions.
Yeah.
Don't let the test scores
Right.
override your gut feeling completely.
Right.
After all, emotions play a huge role in decision-making,
Uh-huh.
especially when it comes to big life choices.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
If a test tells you to be an accountant, but the thought of crunching numbers all day
Right.
makes you want to run for the hills,
Yeah.
maybe it's not the right fit.
Exactly. Sometimes your heart knows,
Yeah.
but your head hasn't figured out yet.
I like that.
Rule number 4 reminds us that you are unique.
Yes.
There's no one else quite like you, and your unique qualities matter
Right.
as much as any test score.
Those tests can't capture the full complexity of a human being.
Precisely.
Okay.
And finally, rule number 5 ties back to what we were saying earlier.
Okay.
Test scores are just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Don't base your entire career decision on a single test. Use all the resources available to you,
Right.
including research, networking, informational interviews, and, of course,
Right.
your own intuition.
This really emphasizes the importance of a holistic approach. Okay, so we've talked about the SII and SDS,
Yes,
but Salkind actually mentions a few other
It does.
career tests.
it does. There's a table listing 5
Okay.
commonly used career development tests, each with a unique focus and target audience.
Let's take a look at some of them. What caught your eye?
Well, one that stood out to me was the Cooter Occupational Interest Survey,
Okay.
or KOIS.
All right.
It's interesting because it focuses specifically on careers that require advanced technical or college training.
Wow.
And here's a fun fact for you. It comes with an audio tape
Oh, wow.
to help interpret the results.
An audio tape. Wow, that's a blast from the past.
Right. Another interesting one
Okay.
is the Armed Services Civilian Vocational Interest Survey,
Okay.
or ASVS.
Yeah.
It helps people explore careers
Okay.
that bridge the gap between civilian and military jobs.
That's got to be super helpful for people considering a career in the armed forces or those transitioning out of the military.
Absolutely. And there's also the Campbell Interest and Skills Survey, or CISS,
Okay.
which is unique because it measures both
Okay.
your self-reported interests and your skills.
Oh, that's a really important distinction.
Yeah.
Having an interest in something doesn't necessarily mean you have the skills for it,
Right.
and vice versa.
Exactly. It provides a more well-rounded
Yeah.
view of your career potential.
Yeah.
A question that comes up a lot is, how do we know these tests actually work?
Right.
Can we really trust them to guide our career choices?
That's a really good question. I mean, these are big decisions we're talking about. Does Salkind address that concern at all?
It does. In fact, it dedicates a section
Right.
to the concepts of validity and reliability,
Okay.
which are super important for any test,
Right.
especially one that could have a big impact on your future.
Okay. So remind me what those terms mean again. They always trip me up.
Think about it like this.
Okay.
Validity is about whether a test actually measures
Okay.
what it claims to measure.
Right.
Does it accurately assess your career interests?
Yeah.
Or is it measuring something else entirely?
Got it. So a test that claims to measure your aptitude for carpentry should actually correlate with how well you do
Right.
in carpentry-related tasks.
Exactly. And there are different types of validity.
Okay.
The book highlights construct validity,
Okay.
which essentially checks if the themes being measured
Okay.
are well-defined and make sense.
Uh-huh.
It also discusses predictive validity,
Right.
which looks at whether the test results actually predict career success or satisfaction down the line.
So if a test says I'm a perfect fit for social work,
Right.
but then I end up miserable in that field,
Right.
that would suggest the test has low predictive validity.
Right. Now, reliability
Huh?
is all about consistency.
Okay.
If you take the same test twice,
Uh-huh.
will you get similar results? Your career preferences shouldn't change drastically.
Right.
in a short time. So retest reliability should be high.
It's kind of like stepping on a scale twice.
Exactly.
And getting wildly different weights.
Yeah.
You'd have to question the scale's reliability.
Exactly. And that same principle applies to these career tests. You want to make sure the results are consistent and can be trusted. We've talked about a lot of different information today, from Holland codes to different kinds of tests, and even how to determine whether those tests are giving us good information.
Yeah, this has been really interesting.
What stands out to you from this chapter?
You know, I think what stands out most to me is that there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
I agree.
When it comes to choosing a career. There's no magic formula or perfect test that can tell you exactly what you should do with your life. It's more about using these tools as a starting point.
Yes.
A way to spark ideas.
Yes.
And get you thinking in new directions.
I agree. And it's about understanding yourself.
Yeah.
Your values, your interests, and even your quirks, and then combining that self-knowledge with research exploration. And maybe even a little bit of risk-taking.
Well said.
Thank you.
But before we wrap things up, I'm curious, what's one final thought you'd like to leave our listeners with? Something to ponder as they continue their own career journeys.
You know, one thing that really struck me in this chapter was how much Salkind emphasizes the role of chance in shaping our career paths. It's not always a straight line, you know?
Right.
From point A to point B.
That's an interesting point. We've spent all this time talking about, you know, making deliberate choices, but what about those unexpected opportunities or even lucky breaks that come our way?
Right. It makes you wonder how much control we really have over our careers. Do we carefully chart our course, or does fate step in and kind of nudge us in a different direction? It's a thought-provoking question for our listeners to consider. How much do you think chance versus deliberate choice has shaped your career path?
That's a really great question to think about.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could all tell some interesting stories about those unexpected turns our careers have taken.
Exactly.
You know, this entire deep dive has given me a whole new perspective on career exploration. It's not just about finding a job. It's about understanding yourself. And being open to possibilities.
I think that's a great takeaway. It's about seeing career exploration as an ongoing process, not a one-time event. And remembering that it's okay to change course along the way.
Absolutely. And Salkind provides some fantastic resources.
Yes, it does.
At the end of the chapter, for anyone who wants to delve deeper into these topics, websites, books, all sorts of helpful tools.
It's definitely worth checking out if you're feeling inspired to explore further.
Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into career choices and tests, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that it's a journey. Not a destination. There's no magic formula. Just self-discovery, exploration, and a willingness
to embrace the unexpected.
And most importantly, have fun with the process. Self-discovery can be a really exciting adventure.
Couldn't agree more. So until next time, deep divers. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep chasing those dreams wherever they may lead.